Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, we're out doing some work today with our sows because over the weekend we had quite an experience with one of them.
Our sow, Mildred, decided to escape from her pen area where she was staying with Charlie. She was in an area that was not good for her at all. It was actually right by the road. And so we decided to put her in the new pen that we built for her. Well, about 24 hours later, she found a weak point in the fence where Kevin hadn't put enough of the fence tie wire thing, T-post clips, and she pushed her way out of there. So 2 times in the last couple of days, she has escaped. Well, we have fortified that second pen area that we built for them, but because she's there, we all of a sudden have to get the rest of the pen area ready.
Right. We hadn't planned on moving either of our sows into this area for a few more weeks, so there are a few things that we still need to finish up that we were hoping to finish up without the pigs in there, but now we're going to have to do it with Mildred in there. Luckily, we have beagles, and every time Mildred escaped this weekend, the beagles alerted us to the fact that there was a big fat pig running around the front yard. So we got lucky that way, but we can't take our chances and have her escape anymore. So today we're making some improvements.
We have 3 things to accomplish today. The first thing we need to do is make feeding stations. We're going to be separating the 2 sows into 2 separate areas of this new pen. So we need a feeding station for both sides. We also need to actually separate this pen into 2 by running a fence down the middle of the pen. And the last thing that we need to accomplish on this project is to get up the electric fencing.
Right. Now, for those of you who didn't see the video where we built this pen is going to be for our sows to farrow in or give birth in. So they're not real big pens, but they're that way on purpose because this is where they're going to actually have their babies. They have access to part of the barn and an outside area. So they won't be in these for very long, but they'll both should hopefully be giving birth sometime in February. We weren't going to move them over here until the end of January, but sometimes plans change. So we're going to get to work today. It's a beautiful winter day, almost 50 degrees out and sunny. So we're going to get to work. Hopefully we can get all 3 of these things done yet today, even though it's already afternoon. So I've already built one of the feeding stations so that I could have it all figured out so I can show you guys how to build these as well. These are a little bit different than the last feeding stations that we built. Same basic concept, but just a little bit smaller. The other ones that we built are working out so great. It's keeping things so much cleaner for the pigs and just making a much better environment for them. So let me show you what we're going to be doing today. Like I said, we already built one. We're going to put the second one together here in just a second. These are 4 feet wide. They're about 36 inches. They're about 33 inches deep. Now, we made some adjustments to them this time because right now the price of lumber is crazy. I was blown away when we went to the lumber store today. So we made some adjustments to make them just a little bit smaller and make a few different things. Instead of building a wooden trough like we did on the last ones, I've decided to just use some rubber pans that we already have. I put a bunch of screws on the inside with washers to really secure that well to the platform. So we'll just be feeding in that. Eventually, we will be adding the same automatic waterers to the other end of here that we have in our other feeding stations. But right now, because it's winter, most of the time they're frozen anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that today. We have enough on our plate today to get done, so I'm just going to try to get these feeding stations built today so we can start feeding them up here. This is number 1. We're going to build number 2, and then we're going to move them into the pen before we put that cross fence up. These feeding stations are pretty easy design. On the bottom, we're going to start with some 4x4s. These are pressure-treated 4x4s. Now, these are the only part of the platforms that are pressure-treated. The pigs really don't ever have contact with this part, so I don't mind at all having these as pressure-treated, and it'll help give it a lot longer lifespan. So we're going to have 3 of those. And then the platform itself and the sides are going to be made out of 2x6s. And so basically first we're just going to attach the 2x6s here onto the pieces of 4x4, and then we'll start on the back. So got a bunch of these to put on, and then we'll move on to the back. Put that one in the middle since it's warped. Now for the back, we're going to start with some pieces of just plain 2x4. These are going to be attached to the back like this, and then our boards will go up on the back, and then we'll add our bracing on the sides.
Is that okay? Go get other boards as you do that.
All right, this back is on. You can see it's already pretty sturdy, but just to be safe, we're gonna add some bracing on the sides. Now these are ending up being 27 inches tall, and then again, they're about 36 inches wide. So this is a good size for one pig. We're gonna go ahead and add that bracing, then all we need to do is add another pan to this one, and we'll be able to move them into place. All right, now for these braces, we're gonna cut these at 36 inches. And then that'll be the final part, other than putting the bowl on. And like I said earlier, because of the price of lumber, we're trying to do these with as little as we can. So this time, instead of building a trough, we're using these rubber pans. But really, these rubber pans I think will be pretty nice anyway, because one problem we have with the wooden trough is that they fill up with water pretty easily. These at least, I mean, they'll still fill up with water, but we'll be able to just kind of kick them and let the water out, at least most of it. So I think that that'll be good. Also, we already had these laying around, so they're free, and that's even better. The way I'm going to attach these is just with a screw and then a big washer, and I'm going to put 6 of those around the inside to really hold them down to the wood. so that the pigs can't just push them out. All right, so both of the feeding stations are done. I think they turned out really well. The reason that we really like these, when we first started raising pigs, we just used pans like this and we would feed the pigs on the ground. The problem is, first of all, within a matter of minutes, they knock them over. And once they knock them over, then they spend the rest of the day rooting up, trying to find every little bit of food that they spilled on the ground. By doing it this way, first of all, it keeps most of their food here on the feeding station, and it just gives them a real clean environment to be eating in. And then once we have the automatic watering cups hooked back on these, it gives them a real nice, clean place to drink as well. So we really like this design. They've been working well for us for the past year in our other pens. We're going to move these into place so we can move on with the next part of the project, which is going to be cross-fencing this pen. All right, the next part of this project is to divide this pen here in half. Now again, this is just a farrowing pen, so they won't be in here real long. This will be where they have their babies. We're gonna do this into two sections. Originally, we were gonna put a gate between the two sections, but we decided not to do that. We're gonna give each pig exclusively her own side to have her babies on. And then if there is a time where we want them to be able to all get together, we'll actually take down the cross fence altogether. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drive a bunch of T-posts and then start putting up hog panels. It should only take about 2.5 hog panels to divide this in half. Right? I cannot believe that with all of the ruckus of the post driver and everything, she's just laying there sleeping. That's one of the things we really love about these Idaho Pasture pigs, is that they're just so mellow. They have personalities like unlike any other pig we've ever raised. Well, it might have been a little too ambitious to think we could get all 3 of those things done today when we didn't even start until 1:30 in the afternoon. So we're gonna have to do the electric fence part tomorrow. It's starting to get cold, the sun's starting to go down, and
it's time for me to make dinner.
Right, and this time of year when that sun starts to go down, it doesn't stay warm out. It's getting pretty chilly. So we're gonna head inside. We'll see you guys back out here tomorrow to finish up that electric fence. Oh, and if we get the electric fence done tomorrow, we're also gonna move Myrtle over here as well. So both of the sows will be over here and be ready to start making their nests if they want, whatever they want to do to start getting ready for their babies. They'll have a nice place to start getting ready.
So guys, see you tomorrow. We'll be right back.
Well, it's the next day, another gorgeous day here in southern Missouri. Almost 60 degrees today at the beginning of January. Unbelievable. Perfect day to be outside working. We're going to try to get this project finished up today, and we're going to try to move our other sow, Myrtle, over to her side of the pen.
The last part of this project that we need to do before we bring Myrtle over is the electric wire. We need to put electric fence all around the perimeter of this fenced-in area, along with the dividing fence along the inside.
The reason that we're going to do that is twofold. One, we don't want them to root right along the fence line and possibly even root up the T-posts and everything else. Now, these Idaho Pasture pigs don't root nearly as much as more standard pigs, but they still do some rooting. They are still pigs. And then the other thing is we want them to stay trained on the electric fence. So after they have their babies and we move them back to the woods again, they'll still be trained on the electric fence. So that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. It should be a pretty easy thing to set up. Let's get started. Now we're going to start our fence right here on the side of our feeding station. I'm going to use a few different things, but of course the handiest thing that I have around the entire homestead is this stuff right here. I show you guys all the time. This is plumbing hanger. It comes on a roll. You cut off however much you need. I love this stuff. I don't think a day goes by I don't use it for something. So let me show you how I'm going to start this fence. We're going to take a piece of this and attach it right to the side of our feeding station at the height that we want our fence. And then we're going to take just a little scrap piece of wire and one of these donut insulators. We're going to put that through like that. We'll just twist this wire up. And then that is where we'll start our fence. We'll wrap our wire around here and it'll run down around the perimeter of the fence. Now what we need to do is we need to add insulators to every one of the T-posts on this side with Mildred. We already did the side with Myrtle earlier, but we couldn't do the side with Mildred until just before we're ready to hook it up, or she'd try to eat them. So we need to get this done before she wakes up from her nap. Now for insulators on the T-posts, we're using 2-inch insulators. That means that they stick out 2 inches from the fence. That'll be the perfect distance to keep the pigs away from the fence, but still let them get pretty close. The way that these work is you find where you want them on the post, which we want them right above in this first kind of a little bit bigger area. These just snap onto the T-post like that. And then that holds the wire. So we'll just put one of these on every T-post all the way around the pen.
She's ridiculous.
Now that our insulators are on, the next thing is going to be to run our actual wire. We're just going to use galvanized wire. This is 17 gauge wire, and we're just going to run this all the way around the perimeter of the pen to start. Now normally I would attach the first end and then walk with the roll of wire to unroll it, but because we need to go through the fence over there and the roll won't fit through the fence, I'm just going to have Sarah actually stand here with this while I pull the end around the outside of the pen. Yes. In the spots where we're going through the fence, I've connected an old piece of garden hose as an insulator to the fence. Since we're using metal fence, we don't want our wire to hit the fence. So a little piece of old garden hose will do the trick. All right, we've got that run all the way around. Now I'm gonna just cut this here and we'll attach it to this side. And now, because this is such a short fence and it's not really being used to contain the animals, this is being used to contain the animals, I'm not gonna worry about getting it super tight. So I'm not gonna put any tensioners or anything on there. I'm gonna just pull it as tight as I can. All right, this is all connected here on the outside now, the perimeter of the pen. You can see I just connected it here to my donut insulator, and then this runs all the way around to the other side, connects to the other feeding station on the other side. Now we're just gonna run our wire on both sides of the divider here, and then we'll be all ready to hook up the Energizer. All right, now for the center area, we're gonna basically do the same thing as we did on the other piece. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna have Sarah stand here with the reel. I'm gonna pull this. We're gonna go down. This is gonna be one continuous piece. We're gonna just jump it off of the wire that goes on the perimeter. It's gonna go down, around, and back up and connect on the other side. Now for this fence, we're going to use a solar powered Energizer. This is a Herdsman brand Energizer. I have a few different brands around, but I like these. They're nice and portable and they do a good job. For this, we're not going to go overboard because this is a pretty small fence. So we're just going to use one of these push-in grounding rods. Push that down into the ground. And then our black lead, our negative lead off the Energizer will connect to our grounding rod. And this red lead, this is the hot lead, this will connect directly to our fence wire. Let's go ahead and turn this on and see if we get everything hooked up right. It says that our solar generator here is fully charged, so that's good. We'll use our fence tester and see how many volts we're actually getting on the fence. Now that's 8,000 volts on our fence wire, so that's good. That's plenty for a pig. Let's go check the one in the center and make sure our jumper wire is working correct also. 8,000 there as well, so that is perfect. All right, this is all set up. We're gonna clean up our tools, make sure everything is set for Myrtle. Then we'll go get her and bring her over. And in the meantime, Mildred will continue to nap. What a life. She might nap even more than our dogs. All right, the final thing we have to do is go get Myrtle and bring her over to her new home, or at least temporary home. Now, because our pigs are so tame, we're not going to load her in a trailer. We're not going to do anything. We're going to just kind of lead her over here. That's how we got her to the pen that she's in now, and it worked just fine. These are the first pigs we could have ever done this with.
Our other pigs would have just taken off, actually. We have a pretty funny video of when we tried to move our first set of pigs here on this homestead. All three of them just went different ways. It was a crazy nightmare.
Right.
But we've been able to lead these guys several places so far. When they've gotten out, we've been able to get them back in with no problem, no trailer. But one key to these pigs is food.
Right.
So I do have a bucket with food in it that we can entice her with. It is also close to their afternoon feeding time, so she should be hungry. I don't want to be cocky about it or anything. Things can go wrong, but we're hoping that this will go smoothly.
All right, we're going to go get her, and you'll see us in a minute, hopefully leading her this way. Well, that went pretty well. Like I said, these Idaho Pasture pigs are pretty easy to handle. Much better than other pigs that we have raised. I'm going to open up her door here so she knows that she can get inside the barn if she wants to. And I think she's pretty well set. What do you think, Mama? You happy to have some grass? I think these are two happy pigs. Hopefully, they have lots of piglets growing inside of each of them. Well, it looks like both of the pigs are happy in their new homes. Looks like this is going to be a great place for them to have their piglets.
It was definitely a good job done. Nice project.
Yeah, we love being able to get these projects done on nice winter days like this. You know, we both grew up in Wisconsin where you don't get winter days that are in the 60s like you do here in the Ozarks. It is such a blessing, even though we get some cold stretches, to get these few nice warm days every once in a while.
You guys, so thanks again for stopping by for another project. Make sure that if you enjoy our channel, you hit the subscribe button, and also the best way that you can help us here on the homestead is for you to share our videos on all your social media, so make sure you do that. Until next time, thanks so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.